Hello, I'm Charles Frazier from Frazier Law. Today I want to discuss a common challenge for many of my clients. That's the difficulty of paying your tax liability on time. Many people face this issue, and it's important to know that you're not alone in dealing with it. The first and crucial step is to always file your tax return on time. This might seem tough, especially when you know you can't pay the full balance. But just remember, it is always better to file on time and pay a partial amount rather than paying nothing at all when you file and having penalties assessed to the full balance. Let's understand penalties. When we're talking about penalties, the most common penalties are the failure to file penalty and the failure to pay penalty. Both penalties top out at 25%. It's just the rate at which those percentages accumulate is the issue. So for the failure to file penalty, it accumulates at 5% per month for the first 5 months that the return is not filed. For failure to pay, it grows at a 0.5% per month for 50 months, which ultimately adds up to the 25%. In any event, you can take proactive steps to avoid these penalties and reduce the amount that you owe to the Internal Revenue Service. There are many options to pay your taxes if you cannot pay in full when you file your tax return. The first I would consider for many of my clients, or that I recommend to many of my clients, is to borrow money from family, friends, and lenders. Believe it or not, borrowing money from a bank is cheaper than borrowing money from the U.S. government. The IRS has a floating rate of interest, and in many times it far exceeds what you would pay to family, friends, or formal lenders. In any event, if you're able to take that option, that's always your best option. In some cases, you might qualify for what's called a undue hardship extension. And essentially what that requires is that we as a firm would have to prove to the Internal Revenue Service on your behalf that your payment of the taxes when they do would cause some significant hardship. And essentially you want to get professional guidance on this so that your case can be made before the Internal Revenue Service in a way that they understand and that they don't reject. Most of my clients ultimately end up on an installment agreement with the Internal Revenue Service. Lots of my clients don't understand that there are requirements that must be met in order to qualify for an installment agreement in the first place. One of those requirements is to have all of the tax returns that were supposed to have been filed, have them filed. So that means you cannot be delinquent on any year's taxes. So whatever year we're currently in now, you can't be missing last year's or the year before and get on an installment agreement. The other requirement is that you are paying your estimated tax payments. So for self-employed individuals, that means at least quarterly estimating how much tax you would owe for that particular period of time and paying it before you submit your income tax return. For employees, this is already done for you. Employers are required to withhold from your paycheck, so you are paying your tax on time. So if you're an employee, it's a little bit easier, but if you're self-employed, that's where most of my clients get in trouble with that particular requirement in order to qualify for an installment agreement in the first place. At Frazier Law, we're experts in tax law. We are here to support you, advise you, and represent you. The main service that we bring to task for clients is that we understand the rules that benefit you. When I worked at this service, my focus was getting the best result for the government. Now the focus is getting the best result for you as a taxpayer. There are terrible consequences to ignoring your tax liabilities, so please just don't do it. Most of the time, clients come into the office with revenue officers in tow, with notices of federal tax liens in hand. They come into the office with heavy problems. These problems could have easily been avoided simply by not ignoring the tax liabilities. When you understand that you have a tax liability and you get communications from the service about that particular tax liability, it is crucial that you communicate with the service about that so that you can avoid penalties, liens, or even seizures of your property. So if you're feeling overwhelmed about tax debt, remember, there are many solutions. The first steps towards resolving your tax issue is, again, to reach out. Reach out to either the folks at my office, preferably, but to someone to get some help with your tax trouble. You don't have to go through it alone. You do have people or professionals out here in the community that can help you work through these issues and resolve your tax issues once and for all. I'm Charles Frazier. I'm committed to helping you navigate these challenges. Contact us at Frazier Law and let's find the right solution for you.